Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists. Hello, I'm Dango Rose, and this is the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening.
And I'm Cynthia Davis. In this week's episode, we meet with Declan Watts, Master Distiller at the newly opened Rick Thomas Distillery in Blackhawk.
We hear this week's music mentions from Jamie Lammers, and special correspondent Maryann Rosen will share an intriguing tale about the majestic Aspen Trees, what makes these trees so unique, and where you can see them ablaze in color this autumn.
And for our final story, Jamie interviews Branden Sipes, classical rock guitarist and songwriter, delivering a well-rounded sound through the mountains.
But first, some news from your neighborhood.
There will be a free electric vehicle ride and drive event this coming Saturday, September 17th at the Nederland Farmers Market. Learn about EVs and related technology, test drive new models, and get all your questions answered by local experts. This event is hosted by the Nederland Sustainability Advisory Board, Electromod Garage, and Xcel Energy, and takes place at Gershio Field in Nederland.
The Peak to Peak Studio Tour will take place September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. The tour includes both galleries and local studios of artists, living and working along the Peak to Peak, and every community and canyon in between. Enjoy a weekend of art and changing colors across the Rockies. For information on the tour, please visit our website at themountaineer.com. Be sure to look out for the printed guide as well that will be distributed inside each weekly edition in celebration of this first annual event.
Bargain hunters beware. The High Country Auxiliary Flea Market will be open and raising funds for the Gilpin County and Timberline Fire Departments. JKQ Barbecue Food Truck will also be on site, offering some savory sides and smoked meats to visitors. Stop by the sale located at the Gilpin County Fairgrounds Exhibit Barn Thursday, September 15th and 16th, opening at 9 a.m. If you have any extra items and are looking to donate before the sale, go to coldcreekcanyon.org/calendar for more information.
Do you have a spooky story that you want to share? Have you encountered ghosts of gold diggers past, a Bigfoot, or maybe a Tommyknocker? Well, we want to hear all about it. In October, the Everybody's Listening podcast will feature a string of spooky stories by special correspondent Maryann Rosen. If you have one of your own that you'd like to share, go to themountaineer.com and look for the spooky prompt.
Read more local news and feature stories in print and online at themountaineer.com.
And that's it for this week's news briefs. If you have something to share, you can send requests for submission to info@themountaineer.com. As long as it meets our community standards, we'll be sure to include it in a future episode. Brightwood Music has been serving the Peak to Peak region and beyond since opening in 2008. The full-service music store offers new and used instruments and will even repair the ones you've got. Go ahead and check them out on Facebook at Brightwood Music. Brightwood Music is the best music store with altitude across the Peak to Peak.
And now for our lead story, Dango speaks to Declan Watts, Master Distiller of the newly opened Rick Thomas Distillery in Blackhawk. He's going to tell us a little bit about what it actually took to get the distillery opened in its new mountain location.
Hi, Declan. Can you start by introducing yourself?
Hi there. This is Declan Watts with Rick Thomas Distillery.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to be a master distiller with Rick Thomas Distillery.
Yeah. So I went to school for fermentation science and technology at Colorado State University. This is a degree that focuses mostly on the production of beer. So it's a 4-year degree. I studied there. And then my last semester, senior year, I decided I wanted to expand my knowledge into distilled spirits. I went to Harriet-Y University in Edinburgh, Scotland, where they have Center for Distilled Spirits. So that's the International Distilled Spirits School, basically. I studied there for a semester with some world-renowned Scotch distilleries and master distillers. After that, my dad had retired from working in Blackhawk at the casinos, and he had come to me with the idea of opening a distillery. This is after I had talked to some other investors about a possible distillery opening, and they decided it was not for them. And my dad said, well, I'm retired. How about we do this together? So we kind of marked it up, talked about it, got everything figured out, and decided to go for it. And that was about 3.5, almost 4 years ago now. So it took that many years, 4 years of planning, discussing, construction, finally putting it all together into one big working machine.
So where did the name Rick Thomas come from?
Rick Thomas, the name, comes from my grandfather. He always enjoyed Scotch. He always enjoyed a dram of Dewar's White Label. That was his drink. And after a couple tries trying to get a name figured out where we'd find something and find out it's taken just a couple weeks prior, I brought up the idea of naming it after my grandfather, and it just seemed right. So we went with it. And here we are now, Rick Thomas Distillery.
And so, Declan, what will the flagship offering be?
Yeah, so our distillery, since I studied in Scotland, I kind of fell in love with how they do things out there. And we decided that we want to make a Scotch style whiskey. We're in America, so we can't make Scotch or call it Scotch, but I wanted to make kind of an Americanized modern version of Scotch. So I took what I learned out there and transferred it into this distillery with some modern technology. And so our main product, our flagship, our highlight is a single malt whiskey, American single malt whiskey. And that will be just about half of our total production. For the Scotch fans out there, they know there's peated and there's unpeated. So to begin, we will be doing unpeated. Very difficult to get good peat out here in America. And the process to smoke the grain with that peat is very difficult if you don't have the right equipment. And because almost nobody does it in America, it's very difficult to find the right equipment or find someone to do it for you. So we hope in the future that we will try some peated single malt.
And you said that would be half of your production. Can you tell us what else people can expect to see and taste coming from the distillery?
Other than single malt, we'll also be doing bourbon and a blue corn bourbon, which uses blue corn, like you see the blue corn tortilla chips as the main grain. And we'll be doing a rye, as well as a blue corn whiskey, which is different from bourbon. The blue corn whiskey has a much higher percentage of corn as the main grain, at 81% or higher. Other than that, we do have a secondary label where we produce vodka and normal corn whiskey.
It sounds like the distillery plans on sourcing local ingredients. Is that correct?
Yeah, we really like that aspect of it. It has more history here in Colorado. All the grains we use are 100% Colorado. We wanted to keep it in the state and find sources around us that are local, build a relationship with local farmers, and keep the grain 100% Colorado.
Is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners before we wrap up?
We'll be experimenting with single batches, small batches of weird things. Up here, while I am the head distiller, we have 3 other distillers that work here. And big part of what I believe makes a successful distillery is letting them try things out, try new things, try weird things. If it doesn't turn out well, oh well. And, if it has a possibility to turn out great and we learn something new. So we will have weird one-off things that hopefully we get to release as a great product. And so that's just part of letting them be creative.
And Declan, is there a website available for people to learn more about the distillery?
Yeah, we have a website. It's rtwhiskey.com. So it's rtwhiskey.com.
Thank you, Declan. The Rick Thomas Distillery is currently open and in production. Be sure to check them out online for their precise location and open hours of business.
Let a little light in your heart, a wild goose chase the morning star. Any old light that shine to me, let a little light in your heart. Burn away the fog of fear that brings your eyes forever near. Looky, looky, looky here. Burn away the fog of fear. Days and days on end. Ain't the wind on fire? Don't it call to you? Restless, restless friend. Ain't you higher than you've ever been?
Now we go to correspondent Jamie Lammers, who will be delivering this week's Music Mentions.
And now, for this week's Music Mentions. Head to Busey Brews, located at 70 East 1st Street in Netherland on Sunday, September 17th at 2 p.m. to see Madeline and Gabriel performing live. Head to the Canyon Tavern, located at 32138 Highway 72 in Coal Creek Canyon on Saturday, September 16th at 6 p.m. to see Branden Sipes performing live. Head to the Gold Hill Inn, located at 401 Main Street in Gold Hill on Friday, September 15th at 8 p.m. to see Drunken Hearts performing live, and on Sunday, September 17th at 7 p.m. to see Mickey Balder performing live. Head to Howlin' Wind Brewing, located at 51A Main Street in Rollinsville on Saturday, September 16th at 5 p.m. to see Steepland String Band performing live. Head to JKQ Barbecue, located at 200 Gregory Street in Blackhawk on Friday, September 15th at 6 p.m. and Saturday, September 16th at 5 p.m. to see Jimmy Lewis performing live. Head to Knotted Root Brewing, located at 250 North Caribou Street in Netherland on Friday, September 15th at 6 p.m. to see the Piney Tops performing live, and on Saturday, September 16th at 5 p.m. to see New Family Dog performing live. Also be sure to head there every Sunday at 5 p.m. to see Jazz Sundays with Black Dog and Friends. Most Sundays at 4 p.m., the Millside Inn hosts an open jam. Be sure to head there at 44365 Highway 72 in Ward to check them out for yourself. Head to the Netherland Farmers Market, located at 85 East 1st Street in Netherland on Sunday, September 17th at 10:30 a.m. to see Stellar Jays performing live. Head to Train Cars Coffee and Kava, located at 101 Pizza Peak Highway in Netherland on Thursday, September 14th at 8 p.m. to see a Kava karaoke night with Phil the Jukebox, on Friday, September 15th at 7:30 p.m. to see Otis Land's piano set, and on Sunday, September 17th at 11 a.m. to see Black Dog performing live. And finally, head to the Very Nice Brewing Company, located at 20 East Lakeview Drive, number 112 in Netherland, on Friday, September 15th at 6 p.m. to see Windy Pines performing live, on Saturday, September 16th at 5 p.m. to see Ravenwolf performing live, and on Sunday, September 17th at 5 p.m. to see Tom Bevere performing live. Did we miss you or your performance? Want to submit your music listing to the Peak to Peak area? Do you have updates to your business or to your performances? Please call 303-810-5409 or email info@themountaineer.com to be included in the next print edition or the next podcast of The Mountain Ear.
Thank you, Jamie. Now let's drop in with special correspondent Maryann Rosen, who shares an intriguing tale about the majestic Aspen Trees, what makes these trees so unique, and where you can see them ablaze in color this autumn.
Shining, glimmering, as if floating on air, the yellow leaves of aspen trees in autumn on a clear day when the sun shines down on the trees is magical. the beautiful rustling sound as the breeze makes the leaves quake. The leaves shimmer, glisten, and dance, and seem either as a spark of fireflies or a twinkling of fairies. What is prettier than the glitter of the autumn-colored leaves and the white of the bark against a backdrop of blue sky and mountains, with a soundtrack of the whispering fauna stirring in the wind? Aspens provide Colorado with its only real fall colors. These trees, lovely at any time of year, but especially so in fall, are not only stunning, but are a very interesting species. Aspens are deciduous trees. Their trunks are tall, up to 82 feet at times. Bark is smooth and white with black knots that sometimes look like eyes. Aspen leaves are almost round or look heart-shaped with small rounded teeth. In spring and summer, the leaves are a glossy green on top and a duller grayish green on the bottom. In autumn, they become golden or bright yellow, and occasionally they have a reddish hue. In spring, they have flowers with no petals and pendulous stringy fruit containing seeds. Aspens also have flattened petioles or stalks that attach the leaf to the stem. The quaking and trembling of the leaves is actually due to the flexible, flattened petioles. Aspens are the most widely distributed tree in North America. However, they are most associated with the West. Although they are the state tree of Utah, they have actually become synonymous with Colorado. The trees rarely survive at elevations lower than 1,500 feet and are more often found at elevations between 5,000 and 12,000 feet. They also grow more slowly and live longer in drier climates. Aspens are usually the first tree species to colonize burn areas. Being the state with the highest elevations in the lower 48, having a dry climate, and being prone to wildfires makes Colorado an ideal environment for aspens. Although aspens produce seeds, they seldom grow from them. One of the most amazing things about aspen trees is that they propagate primarily through root sprouts and extensive clonal colonies. Each colony is its own clone, and all trees in the clone have identical characteristics, and each tree in a stand is a replica of each other. They share and are connected by a single root structure. All of the trees in a given colony are considered part of the same organism. There can be many clone colonies in an aspen grove, or the entire grove can be one clone. Because an entire group of trees are clones, there has always been a major concern that if a disease or anything hits one tree, it will eventually kill off the entire grove. There have been some diebacks of aspens in the western U.S. due to having fewer young trees. The lower number of young trees is attributed to two things. The first is that they are being eaten by ungulates, such as moose, elk, mule deer, and bighorn sheep. The second reason is that due to wildfire suppression, burn areas may or may not exist, and that is where young trees grow rapidly. Conifers tend to invade an aspen grove where young trees are scarce. The widespread decimation of conifers by the mountain pine beetle may actually provide increased opportunities for aspen groves to proliferate under the right conditions. Mature aspens provide nesting areas for animals and several birds, such as chickadees, bluebirds, sapsuckers, and downy woodpeckers. They also provide sustenance for a host of birds and animals, including grouse, quail, sheep, rabbits, deer, bear, and porcupine, to name a few. Beavers also store aspen logs for winter food. Aspens are also useful for humans. The leaf buds have been used for treating coughs and colds. The inner bark can be eaten raw or cooked and can be dried or boiled and added to flour for baked goods. Sap can be collected and used as a sweet beverage or boiled down to make syrup. The leaves, though bitter, can be eaten as a protein source. Any time of the year is a good time to get out and hike in a grove of these wonderful and unique trees. However, it is autumn, so get out and soak in the beauty of the aspens in this season. Gaze upon the golden and bright yellow grandeur and listen to the music of the leaves. Reap the benefits of being out amongst the trees and woods. Some of the best areas to walk or ride to see aspens in all of their fall splendor are right here in our own backyard. Arapahoe and Roosevelt National Forests, the Indian Peaks Wilderness Area, the Peak to Peak Scenic Byway, Rocky Mountain National Park, especially on the Bear Lake Trail and Trail Ridge Road, and the Golden Gate Canyon State Park, home to the largest aspen grove in Colorado, are all great places to get out and see these lovely trees. So get out, enjoy, have a great autumn season, and a happy time among the trees.
The Mountaineer team is hard at work putting together a new and improved edition of Taste of the Peaks. This publication will feature all the stops and shops offering great food, drink, and sweets across our high mountain terrain. Do you have a culinary-based business or service you want listed? There is still time to place your ad and expand your free listing. So go online to our website at themountaineer.com and learn more about how to be included.
Time moving slow. Said I'm gonna meet you in the aspen grove. The higher we climb, like a bird take flight on the Great Divide. Yeah, we're headed on the road. Yeah, we're headed on the road.
And now for our final segment, Jamie talks to Branden Sipes, classical rock guitarist and songwriter.
Hello, my name is Jamie Lammers, and today I'm here with another musical guest. Do you mind introducing yourself real quick?
My name is Branden Sipes, and I am a musician. I'm a singer-songwriter, guitarist. I'm from Colorado. I grew up in a little town of Berthoud in northern Colorado there. Was born in Estes Park and then moved down to Berthoud when I was really young. And I've lived in Colorado my whole life. So went to school there and then went to Colorado State University in Fort Collins, where I studied music and did a double major with business as well. And I live in Centennial with my family now. And since I graduated from college, I've been doing my best to work in music and make a living and trying to continue my pursuit as a guitarist and singer and songwriter and performer and trying to avoid having to go into a different line of work so that I can continue to hone my musicianship, I guess, my skills by getting to go out and perform live several times a week and keep it going.
So how did you start on your path to music?
I realized growing up, my parents were musical and we always were listening to great music around the house. And my mom would get out an acoustic guitar and play folk songs sometimes. And then I realized one day that my dad had a really cool electric guitar under the bed. And so pulled it out and opened the case and he dug out an old amplifier from the closet and plugged it in, and it was this amazing Gibson Les Paul plugged into a Fender twin reverb tube amp. And I didn't know how to play guitar at all, but just the magic of making the sound with the guitar strings and the idea of being able to play music that was similar to what I loved to listen to when I was kind of in middle school, maybe just before going into high school, probably around 7th grade, 8th grade. That just kind of lit a fire in me to want to continue to play guitar, want to pick it up every day. So that was the beginning, I guess. That really sparked the fire in me, was finding that old electric guitar. And my dad had played in a band professionally when he was younger and then had quit playing guitar for many years. But then when I showed an interest, then he started playing again and he taught me a lot how to get started with chords and scales and taught me how to play the guitar. So that was my start, I guess. And then from that point, I was more involved in music at school. So signed up for choir and performed in the show choir. I just was interested in trying to become the best musician that I could be, learning as much as I could about the guitar and singing to be able to perform and play the songs that I love to listen to and learn enough that I could create my own songs and express something, my own idea with music. So that was kind of the start of it.
What kinds of music inspired you along the way?
When I was younger, my parents had a wide range of musical tastes. And so a lot of James Taylor and the Eagles and stuff like that, just great songs and great bands. When I was playing guitar, it would have been in the 90s. And so I was listening to grunge, bands like Nirvana and Bush and Weezer, Red Hot Chili Peppers, just kind of really popular alternative rock grunge that was on the radio. But I still appreciated the music that I grew up listening to, but I was into the popular rock music at the time. And so trying to make a distorted guitar sound was what I was really interested in at that time. And with my exposure to music at school, particularly joining the choir to try to learn how to sing and be a better singer and learn how to feel confident singing in front of people and performing through school, then I was exposed to all kinds of more standard styles of classic standards and jazz and musical theater and show tunes and that kind of stuff that I got to perform involved in the school. And so I was really trying to soak up all that I could that way, trying to be a well-rounded musician rather than maybe just like a rock guitar player that could just play loud power chords and scales, trying to learn the music theory, scales and harmony and the chords, what goes into a song, what's really happening so that I could accompany myself on the guitar and sing a song. So it started for me with loud grunge music, but evolved into kind of a curiosity and an appreciation for lots of different styles, from stage musicals and jazz standards to classical guitar, classical music.
What do you love most about being able to perform live?
Well, that's a good question. I guess I've had a lot of experience now. I've been doing music for kind of a long time. I graduated from college in 2006 and was teaching guitar lessons and performing and writing and recording and doing my best to keep working in music. By the way, at college, I talked about studying music. I studied classical guitar and classical voice. That's what the program was at Colorado State University. So again, that was trying to absorb music knowledge, learn music theory and music history and a deep appreciation and understanding of all these classical styles of music and being able to perform that. And so I took that into what I was doing, playing more popular style of music. But I think through all these years, from back when I started in high school, getting up in front of people to play a song, play the guitar and perform the song by myself or with a band, to this very day, there's just a great joy out of making a beautiful sound with the instrument, and you're creating with your hands and it's coming out of your mouth, really kind of being able to not just express yourself, but work hard to create a sound that is, first of all, that I like the way it sounds, proud of it, but also if other people can enjoy that, then that's a wonderful experience too, to be able to play music and add something to someone else's experience. So whether I'm playing to actually be on a stage with people listening, or playing kind of background music at a hotel, or playing at a small bar or restaurant, for me the experience is similar, that I get to enjoy playing the music myself, and then secondly I get to enjoy the feeling if somebody else appreciates what I'm doing as well.
What do you hope that people take away from your shows when they come and see you?
I hope they can have a good time. I hope they can hear a lot of my performances. I'll play familiar songs, cover songs that people have heard somewhere before. So I hope they could feel like that was a really good version of a song that they love. Because I try to just choose to play songs that I think are great songs and that a lot of other people have that same thought. So hopefully they'll just really enjoy hearing recreation live of great music. And then if they're attuned to listening and want to hear a little bit more, hopefully could appreciate something original that I might get the chance to play as well.
What do you like most about the process of songwriting and sharing it with a group of people?
That's interesting. I think with writing original songs and getting to perform them for people, I'm sure it's different for every musician. As a full-time gigging, working musician, a lot of places where I'm playing maybe sort of background music or for a special event, playing songs that people have heard before, well-known music, always goes over better, is maybe more appreciated than playing something that someone's never heard before. So it's probably more of a self-serving thing for me to want to create a song that I can call my own and then play it for people and have them appreciate it, have them like the music as well. Probably more of a self-serving thing than to serve the audience of, oh, here's an amazing song that you've never heard that I wrote and you're going to love it, and expect them to appreciate it and love it. It's probably not what a lot of listeners have signed up for that day. That's, oh, I want to go hear a song that I've never heard before and be grasped by it. But as a songwriter or the artistic side, that's why I think it's probably more self-serving for the artist. But it's also this, it's kind of, I think something that sometimes you can't help as a musician or a songwriter. You can't help that craving or that desire to be creative and to create something that you can call your own, something maybe a little different or something familiar, but that has your own spin on it. And I think that's the artistic drive of trying to be fulfilled with your creative work. And so I think it's something that just keeps going. And it's not like you're done because you wrote a song that you liked. It's something that you keep going. And I think as I get older and do this longer, finding the time and the creative energy can be more of a challenge, but it can also be just as rewarding to come up with something progression or a riff on the guitar or a vocal melody or a phrase that next causes some kind of spark inside of me that can be just as rewarding as when I was younger, starting out after college, trying to record demo songs and play them for people and try to get gigs. So I think in a way that artistic, that creative drive can be just as fulfilling, and it doesn't really go away. It's just, I guess, part of being a musician.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
In general, I guess as a performing musician, I do feel like it's a privilege. I feel like I'm lucky that I get to go out and play music and add my music to whatever space I'm in, whatever people, whoever happens to be there where I'm playing. I feel like it's a privilege to be able to get to add music to that environment. And it's something that I love to do. And I hope I get to keep doing it for a lot longer. And if we'll get the chance to hear me play some music, I just hope that they enjoy what they're hearing and have a great time.
Well, to conclude things, I hear that you're going to be performing at the Canyon Tavern very soon.
Yeah, I've got a gig coming up there. It looks like it's September 16th. And so, yeah, I play, like I said, I was from Colorado and I kind of play up and down the Front Range and I play some of the resort towns and stuff. So all sorts of, I play just as a soloist. I play just a huge variety of venues from all sorts of hotels and country clubs and wine bars and upscale restaurants and all kinds of private events and parties and corporate events and local city concert festival or festival concert in the park and all kinds of things like that. So just a huge variety. But I do have a website. It's my name, BrandenSipes.com. And so I'll post on there various places that I'm performing if people are interested in coming out to hear some live music.
Thank you so much to Branden for coming on board and joining us for the podcast. If you want to see him perform live, be sure to check him out at the Canyon Tavern, located at 32138 Highway 72 in Coal Creek Canyon on Saturday, September 16th, 2023 at 7 p.m.
Open eyes to morning light, burning up the room. Feel the world still in motion. I'll be up and running soon.
That concludes this week's episode of the Mountain Air Podcast, where everybody's listening.
Visit our website at www.themountaineer.com to read more information about today's guests. Pick up a copy of this week's print edition of The Mountaineer at newsstands all across the Peak to Peak. I'm Dango Rose.
And I'm Cynthia Davis. Thank you for listening.
You name it, we've got it.
You know, up here in the mountains, things are weird.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local peak-to-peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.